Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, repping my Loki God of Mischief shirt for a video on Doomsday, potentially the Fantastic Four, Doomsday and Secret Wars, and in particular what I am kind of hoping for from Doomsday and then Secret Wars. This stems out of the conversation that Greg and I had this week on the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can find that here on YouTube. Click onto the channel and then the notification bell. But it also stems from some of the synopsis that we got for Fantastic Four First Steps. Mainly because that hinted at there being a personal element to this. And for Reed, what's more personal than Dr. Doom? Obviously, family, there could be plenty of stuff going on, and it depends on how large a role Dr. Doom has in the Fantastic Four. It could, even as a post-credit scene, though, I think it could work with some of the ideas that I have. So, let's kind of talk about the idea and where this stemmed from. So, if you listen to the podcast, you know that we talked about the Screen Crush video on where does it go from here, where Ryan Arey and Colton kind of work this theory of the Scarlet Witch is going to take the role of Molecule Man, and then there's going to be this Children's Crusade element. Both Greg and I kind of thought Children's Crusade seems a bit too big to put in there. And I kind of tossed around an idea of what I thought would make sense. So let's kind of run through that again. In Fantastic Four, whether or not, and some of the rumors coming out now are that the Fantastic Four universe won't be destroyed. But I think it will deal with incursions. It will set up Dr. Doom, probably Dr. Doom from that universe. And it will probably have something to do with creation of what will be called the Raft. So, in Fantastic Four, and this I touched on a little bit in my Fantastic Four synopsis video, I thought there was a chance we could have Doom having to work with Reed, or Reed having to work with Doom, them being on the same page until they're not. When Doom says, okay, I now have this ability. I now have what I need to be able to start to create a battle world. And so, with the idea that Ryan Arey had, it was that the Scarlet Witch was going to be that. And that could make sense for a post-credit scene. And how I pitch it is, in the post-credit scene for the Fantastic Four First Steps, Doom now has the knowledge of kind of the multiverse. Understands that it's there. And we see this scene where Doom appears to Wanda as she's pulling the temple on Mount Wundagore down around her after the blast of red has gone out, destroying the dark holes across the multiverse. He basically says, you've done a good thing. He's buttering her up. Basically, she's somebody who has been in trouble consistently across the events of Age of Ultron, Civil War, WandaVision, and of course Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. She's always kind of had this wanting to do the right thing, but getting in trouble when she tries because of her powers. And so Doom comes to her and offers her something and says, you did something good here. And I need your help. I need your help to save the multiverse, because only you can do it. She'd be skeptical. And Greg brought up the point, like, this is obviously Robert Downey Jr. doing this again, but I think you have the mask on. Whether or not Downey Jr. keeps the mask on the whole time, but for this, that iconic look, he comes and reaches out, hidden away behind the mask. And in Doomsday, part of what we see is him kind of showing her Latveria, being like, the multiverse is gonna die. I can save it. I can save parts of it and bring a world together. I can bring a world together where your kids are still alive. I can promise you that. Just lend me your power and see how benevolent a ruler I am. And obviously that's put on for appearances, but it's going to be, let me save. That's going to be the mission, what he is preaching, that the end of the universe is inevitable. And then that's going to be what kicks off the Avengers, and in particular Reed, into all of this. Because I think there's a chance that we could get a moment in this that's a little bit like what we get in the Secret Wars comics, where the raft is being taken away from a dying universe and Reed loses his family. I think that could be done here, where Doom intentionally dooms his universe, and in doing so, he dooms Reed, Sue, their kids, everybody, but Reed is able to escape. Reed's able to escape. We have this raft technology, and he escapes to Earth 616. That's when we get our first tie in to the main MCU with the Fantastic Four. Not in Fantastic Four First Steps, but here in Doomsday. Reed comes there and he finds heroes. Maybe even Doctor Strange has an appearance of what he's saying, confirming what Reed is saying is true. And we get this team of heroes who are going out across the multiverse to try and stop Doom. Strange kind of heads off to do his own thing to try and stop Doom. And we may even get a little bit of that Clea Strange interaction as part of this story. Maybe even Reed doesn't just go to Earth 616 immediately, but instead stumbles across Strange, who sends him there because Strange knows there are heroes who can help there. So that's kind of the main, the kickoff for Doomsday. Then most of the rest of Doomsday is going to be the heroes trying to stop Doom from destroying universes. And so they're going to be bouncing around to all sorts of different universes, picking up maybe additional people, kind of getting this multiversal Avengers team, bringing in a character like Horty or Captain Carter. Could make a lot of sense here. A bunch of different options. You can pull a Storm from the Fox X-Men, bring back Halle Berry for that, or get Andrew Garfield or Topher Grace's, or Tobey Maguire. Actually, could do Topher Grace's Eddie Brock too. That'd be weird, but Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man onto that team, and you get this team. But in the end, they're not able to save the universe. They're not able to save the multiverse. And it reaches the point where there are two left. And Reed, who's supposed to have knowledge of the multiverse, there are rumors of a Council of Reeds in Fantastic Four First Steps. But Reed, he realizes there are two universes left. The MCU universe, and it really doesn't matter what the other one is, but the movie ends where the heroes, basically the realization of, we haven't saved the multiverse, we couldn't save the multiverse, and then a shot, and I like the idea of the shot from the Barton farm, Clint out there practicing shooting, looks up in the sky and sees a second Earth, and like his family just kind of wanders towards him, and it's just kind of this big pullback shot of them small with a giant Earth there. And that's how Doomsday wraps up. We know the end is coming. Cut to Secret Wars. In Secret Wars, we immediately jump straight into where we were in, or very shortly after where we were in Doomsday. There's mass panic. We see people panicking all around the world. News reports from all over the world talking about this second Earth that has appeared in the sky. And the multiversal Avengers come back. They grab a couple more people from Earth. And that's about all they have time for. They jettison off. And we maybe even see, I like the idea too, we see from this other world another escape vehicle going up and out. And so we get kind of this parallel between these two worlds. And we could even meet some of the characters on that other one. But then the universe ends. And those on the raft crash down into what looks like part of the void. What looks like this battle world that Doom has pieced together. Where Doom now rules. And then we follow I'm not going to say we directly follow the Secret Wars storyline, but a lot of the elements are going to maintain some level of similarity, where Doom has set himself up as kind of God Emperor Doom. Doctor Strange has been working along his side, not really helping and approving of everything that he's doing, but knowing that there was no other way to save the universe. And now it becomes a battle. It becomes a battle to restart the universe, to figure out how to create it again, and how to stop Doom and kind of break his control. Because the Scarlet Witch is still powering all of this. And so the characters need to both launch an attack on Doom, but also understand how Doom is doing this. Because Reed be able to speak to the idea that Doom doesn't have this power just naturally himself. And this would be the opportunity to bring in characters like Valeria Richards to play a role in it. Miles Morales. Fingers crossed we're going to get Miles Morales in Secret Wars in live action. But a chance to really build out this world and have it be about this confrontation with Doom, but also be about figuring out how Doom is causing this. And then whether it's through the Scarlet Witch, but I think maybe through the Scarlet Witch in tandem with Franklin Richards, the multiverse is reborn. And we come to the main MCU world to end it up. The Richards and the Fantastic Four are back together, but now the tower that was Avengers Tower is now Baxter Building in New York. We see maybe some heroes who fell against Doom, they're back in there. And maybe even we see return of some major hero. I don't think Captain America, but to have a Tony Stark back, to have Robert Downey Jr. back as Tony Stark, I think could be interesting. To have Stark Enterprises, maybe he's not so much that hero anymore, but I mean, bankrolling the Avengers. And finally, we see a Doom, the Doom of this new world. But it's not Robert Downey Jr. anymore. We have our new Doctor Doom for the MCU. But let me know your thoughts on that. Do you like that kind of story arc and idea? Would that work for you? I tried to tie it in fairly closely to the Time Runs Out and Secret Wars storyline, but obviously for a movie, for something that's coming out over this shorter, I mean, they're probably going to be 3-hour movies, but only 6 hours worth of time versus a whole lot of comic books. How do you balance that out? So let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this content, and of course subscribe as well if you enjoy this content. We really do appreciate everybody who is checking out our videos and subscribing. You can also check out the conversation that Greg and I had on this on the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can find it here on YouTube. Click onto the channel and then the podcast tab, or you can find the podcast wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.